Are you ready?
This is the D-Generation cliX podcast. Here are your hosts, Ryan Redmond, Miles Kane, and Daniel Schwab.
Welcome back to the D-Generation cliX podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, and with me today I have Miles, Dan, and Pete. And we have 5 days of events to cover. How are you guys doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's Wednesday. I'm loving it. Working out of town again, which is kind of crappy, but hey, I get to talk clicks.
That makes it all worthwhile.
Do you guys ever get a weird feeling of deja vu, like somehow something happened before and you're just part of it happening again? I don't know. Strange.
Anytime.
So yeah, this is going to be take 2 on this podcast since my mic did not pick anything up last time. Dan, how are you doing?
This would be
Could be better, could be worse. I'll keep it that way.
All right, that's optimistic.
It's really mysterious too, Daniel. Thank you.
Anytime, Pete, anytime.
So 2 weekends ago was the ROC Cup. Both Miles and I attended all 5 days, and this actually ended up being the last ROC Cup that's going to be held at Lucky Dice Cafe. The ROC is going to continue, but there's still going to be a ROC Cup in Huntington's next year. But Howard said he's actually going to move to a smaller location and focusing only on gaming. And that new store is called Lucky Dice Games. He already has moved there. He's got a Facebook page up and all that. I'm unfamiliar with the ROC Cup from a while back, but I think their first event at least was at a hotel, and it sounds like that's what it's going to be again, is at least the plan is going to be at a hotel again. So I really hope the hotel has air conditioning because this whole weekend was just like playing in a sauna, and it just got hotter every single day. It was rough. It was rough. The first day on Wednesday, that was the Tracy Brock Memorial event. This was a sealed 3v3 event where all the boosters came from relatively old sets. Our 3 that were on our team, it was myself, Miles, and then Daryl from CliXDads. And then depending on what player you were, A, B, or C, you had different build restrictions based off the boosters that you pulled. Each team was given a booster from Superman and the Legion of Superheroes, Avengers, Defenders War, Guardians of the Galaxy, Teen Titans, and then 6 Hobbit boosters. And then I think there was like a random booster that was different for every single person. Player A was 400 points of any set. And then player B was 300 points of only Superman and Teen Titans. And then player C was 400 points of only Hobbit pieces. And then they ended up running out of the Teen Titans boosters. So they did a roll off. And then the remaining, I think, Miles, do you remember it was the last like 6 or 8 standing people they got to give back their Teen Titans, right?
It was just 2 of us.
Oh, it was just 2?
It was 2 of us because we tied, or 2 or 3 of us, yeah, because we all tied.
Okay.
Like 3 straight times. Yeah.
So the 3 of us then, we gave back our Teen Titans boosters, and then we got an extra booster of Slosh, which originally I thought was actually a really good thing because I've heard really bad things about Teen Titans. But in the end, it really just led to 10 really overcosted high point pieces, so it was really hard to build a 300-point team out of that. I ended up being player B, so that's what I had to build with, and I ended up having to go with a 71-point Universo, a 154-point Colossal Boy, and then 72-point Phantom Girl. Colossal Boy ended up being actually a little bit of fun. He just kind of ran around and hit hard, and that was about it. So I ended up going 2-1 for the day. Miles, what did you end up putting on your team? It was 400 points and could be anything from any of the sets.
Yeah, I had the 87-point Nebula common from Guardians of the Galaxy, the 55-point Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. I actually went pretty heavy into Guardians because I also had the 100-point, what's her name? Oh, I cannot forget. what's her name with the Thanos? I'm
Proxima
completely
Midnight
drawing
you
a
had.
blank. Yeah, Proxima Midnight. I had the uncommon Black Panther from ADW, and then Bilbo Baggins, and then I'm trying to figure out who my last 50 points was. But yeah,
Um,
I went 2-1 as well.
and your only loss was
It was
against
uh Dark Side.
from
Full point
Slosh,
Dark
right?
Side.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that was yeah, it was rough. I almost had him, but yeah, he was able to go behind walls and like damage my team enough to where I couldn't even destroy the walls. So it was useless, which was sad.
And then
But
my loss was to I think her name was Emerald Empress team, full point Emerald Empress. So she basically got to running shot and
yeah,
pulse wave and then pulse wave again, or something like that. I don't know. It was over pretty quick. And then Daryl, he played all the Hobbit pieces, and he also went 2-1. Do you remember what his loss was or what happened?
I guess his dice failed him. Because his team was strong because he had the Radagast, the Gandalf, one of the orcs, like a generic orc, and then Dwalin. And yeah, his team was extremely powerful because the Hobbit teams had that thing where you put the one ring in the middle of the map, and then at the end of the game, whoever was equipped with the one ring got an extra 50 victory points, and
Oh,
so
that's
he
right.
always made sure to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah,
so
we
that
ended
dice
up
just failed him.
we ended up going 2-1 each. We placed in the top 16, and end of the tournament ended up being first place going to Lucas, Scott, and Ethan. So congrats to them. That was just a late night event, and then Thursday, that was probably the most open day. One of the things that they did run was a silver theme qualifier. Miles didn't play in this one, but I did. I ended up going with a monster team so that I could finally get to play some of the Black Lantern pieces I've been wanting to play. Definitely not Superman, but I did play with the Black Lantern Wonder Woman from Wonder Woman 80. She had the Power Gem. I played with the Black Lantern Hal Jordan with the Green Lantern Ring. Black Lantern Green Arrow with the pumpkin bombs, Venom Doctor Strange from SVAC, Necron, Black Lantern Batman, Commissioner from Wonder Woman 80, and then Surtur, Proteus, and a Wendigo. So that was pretty fun to play. Hal was probably the MVP of the day with Batman's trait of just blocking the line of fire to a friendly character and a grave terrain marker. That was pretty huge too. It threw a lot of people off. I don't really know how neither of those pieces are seeing a ton of play right now because they're both really strong. But originally it was supposed to be 5 rounds and cut to top 16, but there were some issues and between rounds took a decent amount of time. So initially it was thought that there was only going to be 16 players left because everyone else dropped after the first 4 rounds. So they said that they were going to cut after round 4 and just go to top 16 right away. And then after they did some more tallying, there ended up being over 20 people left. So everyone voted on cutting or playing round 5. And I didn't hear Aaron say it, but I guess he said if we're going to play round 5, then they're just cutting to top 8 instead. So my round 5, I just kind of patiently let my opponent take his turn and had to explain the Plastic Man barrel a bunch of times each turn. And just assuming that I was going to make cut. And so even though I won that match, in the end, I only got like 3 turns that game, so did not get enough points to go to the top 8. And then the final match of that, though, was Lucas versus Mike Eskew. And then Mike Eskew ended up taking that event with a Legacy Thanos team. After that, I just kind of went and did a couple BRs on Thursday, hoping for a Kevin to get pulled, since the cases that were sent for the event was supposed to contain Kevins, and there were a ton of next phase opened all weekend. Does anyone remember how many they said were pulled or opened? How many cases?
Well, 120 total cases between that and Notorious, so 60. Let's just average it. 60
Okay.
cases.
And that's with it
Yeah,
being
that's
used for sealed on Saturday as well. So a ton of
yeah.
cases were opened, and exactly 0 Kevins were still pulled. So to this date, there has still not been a single Kevin pulled in a regular booster. Normally, I'm not a huge fan of BRs, but I will say out of the 3 BRs that I did play in, all the opponents were great and they were fun, even though pieces were pretty lame that we all pulled. They were pretty they just didn't do anything. So it was just really unexciting. It was pretty much just a support piece, BR, every single Battle Royale that I played. But the people made it fun, so it was still worth playing. Miles, what did you do on Thursday?
I did BRs to help out the Oregon boys get some rock points because they didn't have enough to get for silver. I was originally planning to play the theme event, so I decided to sign up for the 8-man, which luckily I believe this was the only one that actually got even started the entire week. So I ran my theme format for the silver 400 points, which is probably one of the funnest teams I've ever played. With Stardust with trick arrows, Guy Gardner with Avatar of Khonshu, the Wonder Woman 81, Necron with Avatar of Taweret, Black Lantern Aquaman with the motorcycle, Fire Lord at 40 points with a spectral ring, Chip with the broadsword, Saint Walker with blue ring, Legacy Green Lantern with a green ring, and Cordian Thunderer with Sinestro Core ring. And I was able to go undefeated and win the event for the single elimination. And it's extremely good. Trick arrows on Stardust is a tad bit ridiculous, to say the least. I played against Curtis, one of the cliX dads. I destroyed him, his Legacy Thanos. And then I ended up playing Howard in the finals. He had an animal team, Kong, Lockjaw, Pegasus Cap, Empire Beast, and Cosmo. And there's a few other things that really didn't matter. And so, yeah, his Cap tried killing my Aquaman. Unfortunately, he rolled crit misses each time he tried. And I was able to lock them down with the trick arrows by doing the putty arrows. And he had to waste actions to try and break away and failed. So that was hilarious to see. He wasn't too happy about it, but it's real funny to see Kong waste 2 actions to break away and fail.
Yeah, I got to watch a bunch of that match. It looked pretty good. Just the whole setup of all the lanterns and everything. It looked like it was pretty strong.
Yeah, it was very fun to play. I mean, Necron with the Taweret, I think is actually a really good combo. I used him to heal up Aquaman and then it gave him outwit that sees through hindering. So it worked really well. Yeah, and the Stardust Guy Gardner combo is just ridiculous because you're able to pulse wave, put them all adjacent, drop a big arrow, do more damage, and then you bring in Guy Gardner that quakes for the damage is what it's for. How's it worded? Instead of doing normal damage, he deals damage equal to the number of adjacent opposing characters plus 1. So I was able to get 7 people adjacent. So he was doing 8 damage quake exploit. So it was, yeah, it was extremely, is I almost felt bad, but at the same time I didn't to see Guy Gardner just like one shot everything.
Yeah, he never got a chance to shine in Modern.
Yeah, the only thing I wasn't able to pull off, sadly, because everything else worked so great, was Chip with the broadsword. I really wanted to use the blades from range.
I have yet to see that work.
That would have been funny just to watch that, just the little squirrel with a sword.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I just didn't have an opportunity. Firelord with Spectral Ring actually came in handy quite a bit because that precision strike, triple target, huge. Yeah. So yeah, it worked real great. I regret not playing in the theme format. I think that it would have done pretty good.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see it in there.
Did you ever use the secondary effect of the spectral or no?
No, because I always triple targeted.
Okay.
So yeah, that's actually one effect I've never used with spectral because it's never really came up much. I just use it for the precision strike to get around stop clicks, or super senses.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that was the only 8-man
elimination
event that went off the whole weekend, right?
Yeah.
Because I built a Unicorn Deadpool team that I really wanted to try out, and then a Shi'ar team just like for fun. I was really hoping to play a couple of fun little events like that. But yeah, none of them went off. And even the one that did go off, I think you said there was only 7 people, right?
Yeah, because there was a miscommunication because everybody was told that the only thing you got for playing in it was rock points.
Yeah.
Not the pricing, so everyone did the BRs instead.
Oh,
and I think that I think that if they would have realized that they also would get the same pricing that BRs did, that more people would have done it.
Yeah, I kept going back to the front to see
Yeah,
if anyone was signing up for them, and nobody was. So that's why I just kept doing the BRs.
yeah, and honestly, I think the only reason why it even fired off was because Howard was in it. So, and because he wanted to get some testing, and 7 people, it's like, no, there's 7 of us. Let's get this fired off.
Okay.
So I appreciate him for that,
Yeah, for sure.
among other things. Yeah.
Dan, if you were going to play in that silver theme qualifier, I think it was 400 points. What would you have played?
I think I started with Prime Wonder Woman and what was the other thing? Venom Wolverine, or yeah, Venom the chase from Empire. I think that's where I started my 400 points. The theme. I just like how they interact.
The Wonder Woman
like
81, the one that I played.
Yes.
Okay.
The not the newer Prime.
Yeah, she's really good, except it sucks when she gets to the top and she loses being able to flurry. That's the one thing that really hurt her.
Yeah, I get that. I kept wanting to think about like, oh, can I give her super senses in like any way? I guess like you can give her the bike, but then she's like 75 points and she already has charge, so it just felt kind of redundant.
You could give her the Wonder Woman bracelets, and I think her name is still just Wonder Woman, so you could swap out for something else. And I think that she gets a bonus effect if she has the sword.
Yeah, she does get the bonus effect if she has the sword, or at least I think she does. But yeah, no, that was just something that I was debating, or like giving her the. But she has close combat expert too. That was the other thing, was giving her Bucky's arm, but it was like she already has that, or she has most of those powers, or she gets close combat expert. I think on a few of her clicks. So.
Right.
But yeah, that was where I started. I think it was those two and Commissioner were like at least like 100 and I think it's like 160 or 170 points of that right there.
Okay. And then Pete, what would you have played if you had to do a 400-point silver theme team?
I'd probably stick in Cosmic, honestly. I just think it's easy to build out of silver. So, like, either starting with like an Emperor Gladiator or even like an Ultra Chase Thanos or something like that, and then just kind of building them out from there.
Oh, I would have expected a Doom swap out of you.
Really? Yeah. I mean, that's not a bad thought either. You can always, like, the thing is with that many points, you can always make a lot of things Latveria, especially using the Cosmic and the Annihilating Conqueror, which was what I played for 2 pretty good years, was a version of Latveria doing that. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I would assume that. All right, and then moving on to Friday. So Friday was probably the event that we were looking forward to the most, and that was the 3v3 Scott Porter Invitational. This was a 400-point Modern Extreme Highlander event, and then Miles and I teamed with Nick Blue. I played the Mystical team, pretty close to what I played in Orlando. So that was Arachnites. This is the first time I actually got to play with him having the Avatar of Amit instead of the Red Symbiote. So instead of Blades and Steel Energy, I now had Poison and Steel Energy, so that worked out way better. And then I also still stuck with the Prime Brother Voodoo, who's been doing work for me all year. Orb with the Pumpkin Bombs, the Prize Saturnine, Jennifer Kale, Web Shooters on Madam Web, the Ultra Chase Mephisto, Black Shirt Porter, Legacy Green Lantern at 20, and then Daredevil, the Legacy at 10 points with the Red Lantern ring. It was pretty close to what I played in Orlando. The big thing was that I think Scott Porter was on it because the one in Orlando had to be theme and this one didn't. So the first round that I had was against Kari Sampson. He played a celebrity team with the Mystery Inc. guys and a White Shirt Porter and a rare Deathstroke. And I won map with that one, went to Panther Field House, and we both kind of took time building up Amit's tomb and were pretty slow to get to the middle. And then it was starting to kind of feel like it was getting close to the end. So I think we finally attacked, and then he went in and missed a pretty big pulse wave with Deathstroke. And then I was able to take out 2 Mystery Inks and Scrappy, and then time was called back on his turn shortly after that. So it was fun to play him. It was a good first game. What about you, Miles? What did you end up taking that one?
So the team I ran is a team that actually I was building as soon as next phase was revealed. With Man Thing, the Super Man Thing, but I went with Prime Spider-Man with the symbiote because it was free. Man Thing, Lex Luthor with Orange Lantern Ring to give everyone I have outwit. Poison Ivy at 45, the Iconics with Trick Arrow. The Cosmo from the Holiday Special because I needed second TK and 40 points wasn't too bad. It didn't really do much. Leader at 35, because I still think Leader is an underrated figure for modern or pulp or whatever. Super rare Harley from Notorious with the Blue Lantern ring. Legacy Ant-Man, who after the recent errata, I think he became that much better and almost a must play for playing Scientist, because now instead of them gaining tiny or giant until the beginning of your next turn, it's until the end of your next turn. So figures like Spider-Man can benefit from being double tokened, get the great size, and then he's able to make 4 more attacks. And then I had the Notorious super rare Ivy with Khonshu because she had a Herald keyword. So my first opponent was I can't remember his name, but he played Black Lanterns, and the match ended as soon as it started. He had Superman loaded up. I have 9 outwits, so when I went to go outwit him, he's like, "You can't." I'm like, "Oh no, I'm outwitting all of his powers. That one's first." And then Spider-Man and Man Thing just went to town after that. And then the Poison Ivy hitting from across the map is just icing on the cake. Yeah, the team really worked great. And it was he wasn't too happy to see Superman go down as fast as he did. But I mean, when you got 9 outwits, like Superman's done. There's nothing you can do about it.
And then I think
And then
Nick played a decent amount of Kongs, and I know he won his match in round 1. Do you remember what he played against?
a 200-point Kong.
It was
I
a
don't remember
Kong
what
team,
else was
okay.
on it.
All right.
Yeah, but it was a 200-point Kong. Yeah.
So round 1, we all won our first match, and then going into round 2, I won map again, went to another Panther Fieldhouse, ramped up Amit's Tomb pretty fast, and then my opponent came in on round 2 or 3. It was pretty fast with his Ghost Rider and I think 60-point Arachnite. And so we kind of were fighting pretty quick, and he just had a hard time hitting me between my Jennifer Kale, Black Shirt, Scott Porter, and Super Senses. So I was able to kind of just keep hitting him back, and I was able to kind of get ahead of him pretty quick. But we rolled a lot of attacks, so it was still a fun game. And then so I ended up winning that one as well, and that put me at 2-0. And then Miles, how did you do on that one?
Against Cody, the reigning king of New Orleans, he won map. So he put me on the courtroom. His team is still, I don't know how I did so well against it. It was a scary team. He had Kamo with Hell Cycle, Surfer, Carnage Surfer with Khonshu, Death Metal Wonder Woman with Miramasa Blade, Captain America Pegasus with Skybreaker, Apocalypse and Genesis, White Shirt Porter with the Sinestro Ring, and the Legacy Colossal Carnage. It was he he destroyed most of my plant markers because he knew about the trick. But luckily, I also had an elevated, so I was able to hide one of them, which was the most important one. So he didn't extend himself, which I was maybe hoping if he did extend himself, then I'd just KO him. But he didn't. So I was able to get my full map with Spider-Man and Man-Thing, pull that off. Made sure that he wasted the Death Metal Wonder Woman trigger. Luckily, his rollouts weren't there. And then, yeah, it was a full wipe. And I think he got 50 points. I think I think is the only one he got, so 55 points.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a very, very quick match, and I wasn't expecting to blow it as wide open as I did, especially when you see his force compared to mine. So I definitely undervalued my team a little bit compared to the meta, and I was pleasantly surprised to see how well it managed and held up.
Nice. So yeah, round
Yeah, it was a
2,
real good game.
both Miles and I won. And then how did Nick do on round 2?
He played another King Kong, and he lost.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then round 3, we played the California Phoenix Nest. So I played Jose Berrigan. He played, I think it was an Avengers team with Hawkeye and Hawkeye. And I was able to get up on him on points. And then he actually got his Hawkeye and Hawkeye in with the trick arrows. And I was feeling pretty confident. And he hit me hard twice with those trick arrows. Those things can be nasty. So he caught up after that, but then I was able to kind of come back and get his Hawkeye and Hawkeye, and I think we each got like 7 turns in, so we were really hitting it pretty good. So that was a really good game, a lot of back and forth, but I ended up taking that one too. So after round 3, I was 3-0. And then who did you play out of Phoenix Nest, the California Phoenix Nest?
I played Anthony Berrigan, who he was running a mystical build with Ghost Rider with Bucky's arm, and I think that his pilots were he had Blade as his pilot, and he also had Chthon on him. And he had Arachnite with Skybreaker, Blackheart with Sapphire Ring, Kong with Emit, MOE swap, including Mephisto, starting with Iron Inquisitor, the Madison Rare with the Hell Cycle, which I thought was an awesome combo. And he put her on the sidestep click, and then the Legacy Green Lantern with the Green Ring. I chose map, so I was planning on putting us on the indoor Ace Chemicals, but unfortunately, there's a lot going on because we had to stop for quite a while because Scott Porter just got there, and so I really wasn't paying attention, and I accidentally put it on the outdoor Ace Chemical map without even realizing it. So I was able to. He broke first turn immunity with Blackheart and Arachnite, so I was able to kill Arachnite without actually ever attacking him, thanks to trick arrows. And then a few little misplays, like I forgot about the knockback that gets it for Blackheart, which means that Blackheart would have been KO'd too, which would have been huge for me. But he was able to mastermind him, so since everyone was immune, no one took damage. And then so I barriered up, thinking I was indoor. He came at me, and he's like, "No, you're outdoor." And I'm like, "Oh crap!" So it was downhill from there. I was able to climb up and keep the game competitive despite losing pretty much everybody. I was able to take out his Arachnite, his Blackheart, his Kong, and I believe his MOE swap as well. So I got at least half of his build, which was surprising, especially after that huge misplay of putting him on an outdoor map.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, I think we got like another 7 turns in, and we finished well before time was called. So yeah, that's one thing that I'll shout out to the Phoenix Nest is, yeah, they don't slow play at all. They know their teams, and they make sure that everybody, them and their opponents both get a decent amount of turns.
Yeah, that's what I
So
like.
yeah,
That's how it should be.
I mean, that's cool. I like to play fast, so I mean,
Yeah.
that's nice to just go back and forth for a while.
Yeah, I can't stand only getting
Yeah,
like
and then
3 or 4 turns.
yeah, then Nick played against Alyssa, who was running Camo, Death Metal Wonder Woman with Soul Sword, Carnage Surfer with Red Symbiote, Apoc and Genesis both with Sword Bearer. I'm assuming both probably got Soul Sword as well. White Shirt Porter with Sinestro Ring, Black Shirt with Warlock, and Daredevil
And this one he won,
with
right?
Mirmasa. Oh no, he lost. He lost it too.
Oh, so round 3 he lost also. Okay.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
he lost. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
Going into round 4, that was the last round of Swiss. So I played Jalen Major. Last time we played, it was top 16 at Worlds, the team sealed, and he beat me pretty handily with his seal team. He had like Necron and I think Black Lantern, Wonder Woman, and so it was not pretty. But I was definitely looking forward to getting a chance to have a rematch with him. So I picked map, same thing, went to Panther Fieldhouse and started like usual and started trying to ramp up Amit's Tomb. And he actually came in really quick. And I think he chose to bring in Kong and Carnage Silver Surfer with Blackheart. And he hit me pretty hard with Kong and Carnage Silver Surfer. And he kind of just started picking apart the little pieces on my team. I was able to hit a couple of super senses, but his dice were hot and he just kind of kept hammering away at me. I was just kind of grasping at straws. I was able to KO Kong with my Arachnite that was getting kind of low dial, and then Blackheart was just like a Hail Mary of a outwit to his defense, and then I think I poisoned, and then it was a range attack from Madam Web and a range attack from Jennifer Kale, and I was able to score him out of that. And so we both thought that he won, and then we were adding up the points. And as we were adding up all the little pieces that he hit on me, it really wasn't getting anywhere. And then we started adding up his points that I scored, and having Amit's Tomb give me the extra 10 points, and I ended up winning, I think by 20 or 30 maybe. So it definitely didn't feel like a win because he was just kind of pounding my team with Kong and then picking pieces apart with Carnage Surfer. So I ended up winning that one too, going 4-0 in Swiss. Who did you play on that team against?
I played East at Brock, so the Alpha Strike guy that was I can't remember his name, the one that was recording it. He saw my team and he said, "Hey, would you like to be put on stream? I'd like to, see a unique team like this on stream. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So I was going against Easton Brock, who was brought in detectives with his own Prime Spider-Man with Black Symbiote, Hawkeye and Hawkeye with Trick Arrow, Shaggy with the Avatar of Khonshu, Misty Knight to bring in Spider-Man, White Shirt Porter with Sinestro Ring, Black Shirt Porter, and Scott Crampton. Uh, Looking at this, okay, so this is only 299 points. Let's say he had more than this because he also had World's Finest, and there's also something else that is not on HC units. But I let him pick map because I'm like, all right, I think I can handle anything. He put me on Morlock Tunnels, which I'm fine with being put on Morlock Tunnels because I can get the plant markers. And since I was put on stream and he was saying about, I guess the other games were slogging, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go aggressive. I got a little bit too cocky with me already able to hit my all my alpha strikes, so I put myself in some precarious positioning. Which unfortunately, when you have someone that has the CSA team ability, you're able to just do a ton of probs. So I missed all of my alpha. I was able to last a few extra turns. He had to earn it. Um, But yeah, it was a drag out fight that unfortunately, if people saw the stream, they saw that my placement and everything was almost pitch perfect. I probably went a little bit too aggressive, but yeah, when your dice are not gonna roll good, then that's just the way the cookie crumbles apparently. So yeah, I had a great time playing on stream though. But unfortunately, yeah, I lost.
And then
But
Nick won round 4 though, right?
Nick, Nick played against the 300 point APOC, the Death Metal Wonder Woman with Soul Sword and Genesis. And unfortunately, no, he did not win. He lost as well.
Ah, okay.
So
So
yeah,
in
yeah.
Swiss, we I think ended up as a team we were 2-2, right?
Yes.
And so we
Yeah, two and
still
two.
they
Yeah.
they cut the top 16 after that. We did make it in. We ended up playing Clay, and who else was on this team?
Joe, Alves, and Ed, AB.
That's right. Okay. So top cut. I played Clay, and this is the game all weekend where I just kind of kept replaying the mistakes that I made in this game. So this is where I kind of started doing a little bit of the misplays and stuff. So same as other game, I won map, went to Panther Fieldhouse, started working on Amit's Tomb. He came in pretty quick too. He pretty much had his whole team right on the outside of the lockers, right by turn 2, I think it was. And so back to me, I wasn't really set up to fight him next round, and I didn't plan on it. But then I flipped the Precision Strike card, and every time that card's come up with my full point Arachnite, it's always done work. So I kind of just felt I had to try and take advantage of it. And so I kind of had to overextend to do that. I was able to take out the Grand Prize APOC and Genesis with Arachnite that turn. But then when I passed back to him, he came in with Camo and White Shirt Porter and Camel's Shark. And the biggest misplay was he pulse waved with his White Shirt Porter, and he just hit whatever he needed. I think it was like a 7 or an 8. And I said I was in a community reroll with my black shirt. And as soon as I said that, I realized that I could have just lowered it with Saturnine, and it was just too late. He already rolled, and then he hit it by one more than he needed to, so I couldn't do it anymore. So that hurt because then Madam Web and Arachnite took the Pulse Wave and knockback damage, and then Camel's Shark came in, and Camel came in, and it was just kind of rough after that. So he ended up taking that one, and that was my first loss of the day with that team. And what about you, Miles?
Up against Ed, AB, he put me on the same map, Panther Fieldhouse. He was running Matt Reed's Master Mold team, but with an extra 100 points. So he had Master Mold at 200, Black Skull, Kong, Jennifer Kale, Mephisto, and Black Shirt Porter with the Indigo Ring. And I did the best that I could. I was able to hit my alpha decently enough. I was able to take out his Kong. But unfortunately, when you have someone like Master Mold that can bring in multiple Prime Nimrods for their Pulse Wave or multiple White Shirt Porters, it's kind of too late. And unfortunately, my Poison Ivy didn't do too great because Kale made her 10 attack, just stuck at 10. So she was useless. So the 5 Scott Porters and the 3 Prime Nimrod's just they.
That's just
There's not
nasty.
much I can do with that. Yeah, there's just nothing I could do. And then once he took out Man Thing and Spider Man, it's like that was my entire team. He had to work for it though, so I really starting to respect Leader more. Leader he he put up a challenge. I didn't really do much because, like I said, Jennifer Kale is you go against her, and I don't care if you're trying to perplex up your attack; it's just not going to happen, especially when you're full map. So, uh, it was tough, but I was able to get Kong out of them. But yeah, that team's great. I think Matt Reed really showed at Adepticon that Master Mold at 200 points is viable even in 300-point format, um, especially with the white shirt porters being brought in. Like it's just stupid. When you bring 5 of them in one turn, like what are you gonna do? Like
Yeah, and if the right
you
tarot
can do
cards are
nothing.
out at the same time, like
Yeah,
it's just brutal.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He did have the Pulse Wave tarot card pulled as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it was
Yeah, between
yeah.
that and knockback and having like 5 of them on the field, yeah, it's insane. But
Yeah,
even
and then
though
Nick played against
even though we
Josafa.
lost, Nick did pull it out and beat Josafa, right?
No. Sadly, he did not.
Oh.
Yeah, but he went 4-1 for the day though. 4 losses, 1 win. So I guess that's good.
It was a rough day for Nick.
Sounds like Nick's got a little bit of a room for improvement. Like
He-
only way to go is up from here.
He did
Yeah,
set
so
the bar
you know
really
what, I'm
low.
not sure. That's true. Yeah, if you set your bar that low, then yeah, expectations.
He's playing the long game. He's playing the long game.
Yeah,
He'll be back.
he wasn't playing good pieces either, though. That was the thing because me and Ryan took all the good pieces. So, like he was using, I think it was Iron Hammer with the Herald Dial, the Super Rare Ghost Rider, the King of Hell, Prime Hulk, and then he had Carnage Surfer, and there was a few other little things. So, I mean, kudos for him not being able to work with the great figures. So, I mean, 1-4, I guess, is what you expect when you're running those teams.
So yeah, that was the end of our day. That definitely was I think the funnest event of the weekend. That's the one I was looking forward to the most. The end of that saw California's Phoenix Nest taking that one. So congrats to them. I think they chose to make a bystander, so that should debut next year at the Hero Clicks for Huntington's event. Dan, if you were going to make a 400-point Modern Extreme Highlander team, what would you make?
I would probably go Ruler. I'm stealing from Miles here, and I'm using the Aquaman with the team up.
Let's go.
I would start with King Arthur, King of Hell, Ghost Rider, Blackheart, and then Aquaman. I would still be filling out the rest just because I didn't. I thought it was initially 300, not 400. So I was like, oh, I have 250 points, and I was trying to work out the last 50 points of it, and I'm like, no, I have 150 points left to work with.
Yeah, it's crazy how much you can put on a team with 400 points.
Oh, I know. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
there's so
it
much
gets
more
to be
space.
insane. Yeah, the amount of combos you get.
Pete, what about you if you were making a 400-point modern team?
Simon Garth would definitely be on it with a Hell Cycle.
Terrible start.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. He wouldn't be on there at all. Modern, huh? I've been looking a lot at detectives lately. I've seen there's a guy we play with that has pretty much turned me on to the fact that team is fairly deadly. So honestly, given that we're essentially working in different like keywords, right? That's the point.
Well, you want to.
So I would probably.
You don't have to, but
Yes,
you kind of want to just kind of have a strong team and not require the same pieces each other person's playing.
Yeah, I would probably start with something that just is a completely different keyword than other people. So I would probably have started with something that's really strong right now in the meta, and it seems like it has a ton of fun pieces to play and with a lot of interesting interactions. So probably detective.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
and I'm forever trying to make that 75-point Martian Manhunter work, the one that you have to activate with the team up card that gives people outsiders.
He's still good.
Yeah, he's really good at dying because I simply have not figured out how to play him correctly.
He's good in other people's hands. Yes, I haven't seen you pilot him great. He is good though.
I mean, I did win an event with him. So yeah, he is good. He's viable.
I think he's still playable even at 40, even without the activation click.
Yeah, I know, but no, 75 is so much fun.
I mean, listen, Nick has room for improvement, and so do I. Okay, then we're just gonna leave it at that.
I think you would have went better. You would have went more than 1-4 with if you paid Manhunter at 75 points.
It's possible. I don't know if I
I
would have
can't.
taken that bet, but it is possible.
I'm taking that bet. So
Okay.
at Worlds, when you see Nick, we're gonna have him play the team that he played, and we're gonna build your detective team. Money on the
I
table.
like it.
That's fair.
The
Yeah.
detective
I
will
like
probably
it.
be
Money on the
detective will
table.
probably be even better.
Yeah.
All right, so then Saturday was the Scott Porter versus the World Sealed event. That ended up actually pulling in 134 players. It was 300 points, and you got one booster of Deadpool and Weapon X, and one booster of Next Phase. And then if you wanted to, you could mulligan your Next Phase booster up to 2 times. My Deadpool Weapon X booster had the rare Jean Grey, the Deadpool robot, Jeff the Land Shark, White Fox, and then the Cowboy Hat Wolverine. And then my next phase booster, it wasn't great. I mulliganed it pretty much immediately. And then they just had you line up. They handed out your next one, and then they let you open it, and you could mulligan again. And I immediately did that. So the best thing I ended up getting, that third booster, I ended up with the Super Rare Titania. And I do like Titania, but you kind of have to build around her and have a strong base with that. You can't just have her be your hardest hitting main attacker. So she played a good part, but it just didn't work. So my team ended up being Super Rare Titania, the Rare Jean Grey, Common Wong, Uncommon Saracen, Jeff the Land Shark, and White Fox. And then my team was able to hit. They all got the +1 from Titania, but the issue was they were all pretty much close combat pieces, and all of them were blades heavy. And so I'd hit, but then I would have to roll blades, and then it would be like 1 or 2 on people with reducers. So it was really rough. And then the big issue I thought with the event was they made you play one of 2 sides of the map from Spider-Man Beyond Amazing. So you had to play either the construction zone site or it's an Oscorp warehouse, or it has like a little bit of a shipping yard, a little bit of water.
Dockyard.
What is it?
Yeah, the dockyard.
Yeah, dockyard.
Dockyard.
Okay. So everybody had to pick between those 2 maps, and it just was not good for a high close teams on either one, really. So that part was really, really rough. Just I can't sneak up on anybody. It was just I was getting hit, yeah. What did you end up playing, Miles?
So my booster, I pulled the 001 Wolverine, the uncommon Jubilee, uncommon Boom Boom, and the common Hydra Agent, with my rare being Sheriff Deadpool. And my next phase, I can't remember what I pulled for my first pack, but I mulliganed twice. And I was able to get a mitt in my second booster, which I think helped my team tremendously because I needed something that good. So I ended up with a mitt, Sheriff Deadpool, the 001 Wolverine, which I put a mitt on, and then I had Mystery Mortal on my team. And I ended up going. My pulls were a tad bit better than yours. A mitt was huge, but yeah, your pulls were even with Titania. Yeah, it's just like I said, it's all close. So you weren't able to really do much on any of those maps because at least like even though my rare was Sheriff Deadpool, he's a ranged attacker with 6 range, 8 speed running shot. So he has a 10 range essentially.
Yeah.
So I was able to do that as well as with a mitt being close combat heavy, and then I had 2 perplexes. So yeah, my team was luckily more well rounded than just being close. So
All right, and then so that was Saturday, and just between the the heat and the stress of the day, like I didn't even eat lunch or dinner that day. They ended up pausing before they started Top Cut and to do the auction, and the auction was actually a lot of fun. They did the Auxit one that was running for quite a few days, and then the live one after that. So Auxit was working really good until like I think it was the last minute. It was like 51 seconds left, and then it started crashing for everybody. So I know it started cutting off a lot of those final bids. We ended up staying at Lucky Dice that night, I think till almost 2 a.m., wasn't it, Miles?
Yeah, because did we go straight to the Airbnb or did we also go to Waffle House?
No, that night we just went.
I
I
think it
didn't
was.
eat lunch or dinner
Yeah,
that night. We went straight back home. It was like after two
yeah,
a.m. and we had to be
yeah.
back at the
It was
store I
two.
think by
Yeah,
9. So, but
yeah.
yeah, Porter signed a bunch of stuff. We got to talk to him for quite a while. So that was actually a really cool night. Even though we were there for quite a while. And then, so Sunday was the main event. This was the Silver World Championship, which was 400 point Silver Age. I practiced my team exactly 0 times and really just wanted to play to have fun. There's a couple pieces that I just never got to play in competitive or anything just because the sets came out when there wasn't a whole lot going on. I think just competitive Silver Age at 400 points with the current ban list, it just isn't a ton of fun. The issue really is just the game is made for 300 points, and so those extra 100 points that allow you the extra action and then really sink into any gimmick, whether that's a defensive shell or more barrier or just some other unfun mechanic, it's just really rough. So I ended up going with the team that I was talking about before. It was Arachnite with the Power Gem, Weapon Hex with the Soul Sword, the War of the Realms, Doctor Strange that has the Recruiter effect with the Cloak of Levitation. I switched to Mad Jim Jaspers just so I had a couple answers for Legacy Thanos with the Emotional Modifier, and I was able to switch to the Blood Axe on Arachnite if I needed to. And then I had Jennifer Kale, Wonder Woman 80 Felix Faust, the House of X Captain Britain for an outwit and leadership, and then Blackshirt Porter again. So my first match was against Isaac Denke, and then this game was probably my most back and forth game of the day. He had a Spider-Man family team, and he was able to keyword cheat and get X-Men Rise and Fall Blackheart on there, and then like Groot and Surtur for retail. I think his MVP piece though, even though Blackheart did a lot of damage, was the Gwen from SVAC that just says you can't use super senses within 4, and that just kind of really nerfed my team. And every time I attacked her, she was rolling a 6 on her super senses. So that part was kind of rough. I kept trying to take her out. The final score though, because I was able to get my Amit's Tomb up. The final score ended up being 260 to 265. So it was a really good game. That was a lot of fun. It was just back and forth the whole time. And I think his X-Men, his Rise and Fall Blackheart, hit with I think he had arrows on him, and so he hit really hard with him. And then when we resolved all the Mystics damage, he ended up killing himself on that one. Miles, what was your team, and then what was your first round?
Yeah, I went over my team right before I left. I decided to go the gimmick route. I was talking with the Dial H in the Dial H Discord with Ian and then Jackson, uh, who was there judging and also as a player, and about how funny it would be to play Star with Mjolnir. And so they convinced me, and I went through a few different builds until I can't remember if this was the finalized build that I talked about before I left, but it was Starro at 200, Starbrand with the power gem, which I know that caught a lot of people off guard because everyone thinks that she was trash. But I think in 400 points, you actually see what she can do. Mad Jim, Saint Walker with the blue ring, and then both Scott Porters, one with the yellow ring, of course. And the reason why I put Starbrand on that is because you can give a friendly character a power that she can use. So that means you also get it from equipment. So one of Star's weaknesses was uh, Mystics, and so I would free swap her into Stones of Merlin to give her Invincible, to give Starro +1 to all of his stats and Invincible. So his attack would be bumped up maxed. So he'd be 14 attack without any perplexes because he'd get the +1 from Saint Walker with the blue ring, +1 from Porter, and then +1 from Starbrand. So I was always hitting with my 5 attacks, 14 for 7 or 14 for 6. So yeah, the Mjolnir trick was 100% fun. Game one, I played against. I can't remember his last name. His name was Michael. I believe he's from California. He was a non-theme Ultra Chase Thanos build with all the gems, double Spirling. One of them had Lyre Ring, and then he also had Mister Sinister, both Porters. I think that was it. And he was able to replace all my dice for my first wave of volley of attacks. So unfortunately, I couldn't do anything. So he made me crit miss. The next turn, he decided to hit me with his Ultra Trace Thanos, which he did, but luckily he does not Psychic Blast because I put Starbrand with the emotional modifier to give him Battle Fury, so that way I have to worry about his free mind control. And so, of course, he triggered everything. And so, even though I got made my impervious, he did one penetrating damage, which I'll take instead of taking 7 or 8 damage. And then that next turn, I was just able to completely wipe his team because all of his die replacement was done. And Starro hitting for 35 damage in one turn turns out to be extremely good. So that was, yeah, it was a fun game. You could tell that he wasn't too happy. So I decided to just throw figures at him just to, make a game of it instead of me just wiping him and saying good game. So, because like you alluded to earlier, like I don't have fun unless my opponent has fun. So there's several teams that I would have played. Like I had a Leo Yondu team, which I play tested that online, and it's not fun.
Right.
And so I'm not going to spend an entire day, 13 hours of playing a team that's just not fun. Like it's not fun.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
all I can say.
That sums it up.
So, yeah, yeah, it's just literally that simple. Like, does that hurt me competitively? For sure. But playing a figure like Starro, who never really saw competitive play at his 200 point line, and
Right.
being able to be successful with him, I think was 100% worth going there and just playing Starro for
Absolutely.
sure. I mean, that's why I had a T-shirt made of it. And that's I think what I'm gonna start doing with competitive now. That's a lot more fun. Like, yeah, sure, I can play the best of the pieces and I can win events, but that's not fun. I want to go there with figures like Starro, make cut, surprise people, and just have fun playing the games with my opponents. Even after I beat them, they were laughing and having a good time.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So my second round was against Emily, and she had a Legacy Thanos team. We spent most of the time pretty far away from each other. I finished my Amit's Tomb up, and then cleared my action tokens and started moving up. And I thought I was good from where I was at, but I didn't realize that she had 3 shield TAs on Cosmo, so she was able to activate the Cosmo power where she took away my super senses on Weapon Hex, and then she got to mind control with Thanos, and she got Weapon X and Doctor Strange, but luckily she missed her attack with one of them, and then the other one I hit the super senses on. But she did move both Weapon Hex and Doctor Strange out of position, so I had to kind of rethink because I was all set to finally go in and attack on the next turn. So I reworked out what I was going to do, and I was actually able to do the thing with Doctor Strange where he has a power that is, so once per turn for all characters with this trait, choose a friendly character with a mystical keyword. This turn, when the chosen character attacks after resolutions, deal a hit target 1 penetrating damage. And I switched back to the power gem because he had the blood axe for the whole time, just so that he couldn't get mind controlled. And so finally he went in with Cathan on him that made him I think I went in a 14 for 7 flurry. So I was able to actually, with Amit's Tomb and the extra ping damage from Doctor Strange, I was able to one turn Thanos and Hope, and then I KO'd something, so I was able to free boop, and I took out Cosmo. And then I passed my turn, and then it went to her, and she was going to attack with Black Skull, I think it was, and right before or right during, I think they called time. So I was able to take that one from her. It was definitely down to the wire though, and it was definitely lucky that she missed the mind control when she had my pieces. So still a fun game. What about you, Miles? Third round or second round?
My second round was the team that unfortunately, like I knew I didn't have any answer to, and I don't think anybody did. Was against Lucas. So unfortunately, his mystical team, which everybody already knows about this build, how it pretty much has broke silver and I guess solved silver essentially with all the interactions that are just completely overpowered in this format. But I knew that if he picked map, he'd put me on Morlock tunnels, and like I just didn't stand a chance. So I decided to throw him on an outdoor map since I have full map reach on even the biggest maps. I just didn't realize that he had full map reach as well. So it was turn 2 wipe, I didn't even have a chance to attack him because he was able to get first turn immunity and then come and just completely destroy my team. So I can't really complain too much because I mean the game was quick. His team did
Painless.
what it needed to do, but yeah, it was painless. I didn't have to deal with a legacy Thanos. That just didn't do point denial. But it just it kind of sucks when like you can just look at a team and like no matter what you build or like there's zero chance unless like somehow he whiffs all of his attack rolls. Like that's just crazy that no matter what is that was a little disheartening. But yeah, I didn't have a bad time playing against him. It was actually pretty cool seeing it in action, especially because I had no blocking terrain on my map. I went with the River Gap, and he was still able to get his Amut's Tomb to 8 by turn 2.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
with 400 points, he had.
what's that?
I mean, with 400 points, he had more than enough room to put enough barrier on there to do it.
Oh yeah, it's easy.
Yeah.
So third round was a Iconics Poison Ivy team with Magneto. There was 4 Poison Ivies, and then it was like an X-Men swap thing where the Magneto from the XDPS release day would come in, and then, or he started on the map, he would take out a piece that was 75 points or less. And so he took out my weapon hex right away, and then basically swapped into Leech, and then Leech picked up a Angler, and then he would kind of run over. And then turn 2 was basically just all 4 of the Iconics Harleys poisoning, and Leech took away defense powers, and then they'd all close attack out of there. One of them had like Harley's hammer, so they were quaking. And I don't know if they had the trick arrows, but yeah. So that was a really rough game. Nicest guy I played all weekend, but yeah, not the funnest team to play against. So yeah, that was my my round 3. What about you, Miles?
Yeah, that's so I played against another dumb gimmicky team for my third game. But like I said, probably the nicest opponent I played was it's Spencer Harris. He had his mission point team, which is dumb if he's able to pull it off, but luckily he was not. So because he rolled his one with the puzzle tokens, so he felt the wrath of Starro, which was. Well, we had fun the entire time. And yeah, I gave each one of my opponents a Starro fight, and he was actually the only one to ask me to sign it. So I thought that was hilarious because since Dial H, I did their giveaway, won their giveaways with all of their Starro fights pretty much. I figured why not? I'm playing Starro. Let's give my opponents Starro fights. So yeah, that he was definitely like the nicest person. Besides the probably I'd say the only game that was better for me personally was in the sealed tournament on Friday or Saturday against Justin Hafford, who I've known for years online. So it was cool to see him in person because I believe you caught the end of our game. It was just meet in the middle and roll dice. So it was just
well, you guys took
a fun
you
casual
guys took
game.
each other's team apart, and then it was just Amit and Prime Colossus just hammering away at each other.
Yeah, that was definitely a highlight, as well as my game against Aaron Morgan where I couldn't roll to save my life. So we were running around for 20 minutes.
And then, so fourth round, I played Clay again. He had a pretty solid defensive shell team with Demon and Armor, the Watcher with Defend, Harry Leland, the WWE ring, Emotional Modifier, and then a Tri-Sentinel, Kong, and Wendigo. And then, also Space Leo. So he took out of my 3 equipments, I think, that I started with, he took my Soul Sword off Weapon Hex and my Power Gem off of Arachnite. And then he kind of moved up, ramping up Amit's Tomb, and then the Sentinel was the easiest target, and so that was in the WWE ring, and so I set up my Kale to kind of help me with modifiers, but with the way that Kale works and with the way that the defense modifiers go and all that, with Demon and Armor and the ring, it didn't work out. So I tried to attack the Sentinel, and I think I had 4 rerolls on it, and I still missed every single one. And so he came back in after that and pulse waved my whole team, except he missed that attack and then destroyed all the blocking that was out. And then Kong ran in, and then that's where he started kind of attacking me over and over again. And then he moved up pretty much his whole team still, though. So Harry Leland was in a really good spot. And I think he missed a decent amount of attacks, but he made a lot of attacks too. And so I just, after not eating at all the day before and just the 5th day of intense heat, I was just kind of mentally done and just trying to kind of do the math between Jennifer Kale, Demon and Armor, the Watchers modifying of the defense, the ring, and it was so much that I was just kind of done after that. So Clay played a good game. He beat me again, so that was twice that he beat me and had my number that weekend. So that was the end of my games. What about you, Miles? What was your round 4?
Yeah. My round 4 opponent was Michael Nelson, who he ended up getting top 8. But he played Empire Beast with the Remaker ring, Man Thing, Demon and Armor with Carter Shield, Sage, Iconics Ivy with the red ring at 45, another Iconics Ivy with the spectral ring, and then the Iconics Harley with the emotional modifier to help bump their attack up by 12. And yeah, this is the game where I had all my misplays. Just like you, like I didn't really eat the day before. I didn't hydrate.
Or sleep.
It was extremely or sleep. Yeah, I think that probably had a lot to do with it too.
It was so rough.
So he played the Queen of Cups for his turn 1, which would have been my turn 2. If I was probably in the right state of mind, I wouldn't have went in for my alpha. I decided to. So it was back and forth. I think he was winning 60-50. There was probably like a good 20 minutes left. All of a sudden, I went blank. I felt like I was about to pass out. So instead of me trying to fight through it, I'm like, I might be able to cut. I don't know. My health's more important. So when I conceded, so I can go get hydrated and everything. So that was a little disheartening, but yeah, his team was great. It was just tons of misplays by me, and he knew it because he's like, man, if you make cut, if we play, I don't want to play you again because I already knew what his team did. Actually, I had to correct him a few times whenever he tried to because Man Thing and Ivy have been like my pet project, and that's why I ran the teams. So yeah, he did a great build, and unfortunately, yeah, he was able to probably get more sleep than me. So he was able to pull it off. And I think that really dictated how well my Starro team did. I think that if I would have won this game, I would have placed a little bit differently. So my matchups during Top Cut wouldn't have been so detrimental for my team because my team really gets destroyed by the mystical build that ended up winning it. And that was what I faced in Top Cut. So, yep. Wish things could have been different, but either way, Starro made Top Cut. So that was the goal. And I think it's hilarious. And yeah, I'm proud of my efforts.
Yeah, it was really cool to see Starro do what he did.
Yes, there was 2 more people that played Starro. They were playing Thanos's, and then I told them about that team. We did a few play tests, and they instantly wanted to change the Starro. They had their different versions, but then they realized that my version was better. But unfortunately, they didn't play test with it at all. They just saw that it was a good build, and they both went, I think, 1 and 2 when they dropped before the last game. So, but it was cool because Ryan from WizKids saw all of us playing Starro, so they actually took a picture of all 3 of us with the Starro. So yeah, that was
cool.
That was a pretty cool moment. Yeah.
All right, Dan, if you were going to play in the Silver World Championship, 400 points, what would you have built with?
Oh, silver, 400 points. I think I might go with monsters. I think that would have been where I started, honestly, because that always has good stuff in there that I would like to play.
It's pretty close to the amount of time I put into my team.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's silver. Like there's just so much. Like I would just want to make a team and practice it a lot against other stuff, but there's so many things that you just can't account for. So I think the biggest thing is just making a team and practicing it, not necessarily like trying to like fit like everything you think you need on a team, I guess.
But the coolest thing is
Yeah,
being
that's
able to
what I
like
did with
bring
Sparrow.
some of those like old pieces back that you didn't really get to like play or see play. So are there any like out of the 200 points, is there any pieces that you would have been excited to kind of field on a competitive level that didn't get the chance?
Ooh, unfortunately, like not off the top of my head, as far as something like that, just because something that didn't see a lot of play, but that could be better. Oh, I always want Prime Gamora to be good. I guess that would be something that I would try because I could actually play her on 100 at 125, and I might actually play her as like a warrior. Honestly, like I might go that route actually because that would be kind of cool.
Players could do really good at 125 points in a 400 point format.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's more or less what I was thinking was the ability to have her actually go full dial instead of being 60 points. I think that was like her limiter in modern was that you had to play her at 60 basically, and then she's only 4 clicks deep.
Well, the biggest thing with her is it's just like the guy Gardner. It's that she came out at a time where Thanos was just running everything, and if Thanos mind controlled her, she basically just ate your whole team, and it was game over. So she never really got the chance to get played. But yeah, I think that's a perfect example of a piece that could have seen Silver play and done well. You probably would have had to put the battle axe or emotional modifier on her. But yeah, I definitely think that would have worked really well.
That's fine. I think the blood axe would be well. You really would like to make use of her range, but that's fine. I guess the modifier would probably be the easiest one to do, but the blood axe is not a bad secondary choice.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or even the enchanted crowbar.
What would that do?
That's to give her.
I mean, the crowbar you don't really need because she already basically does that. So I don't really know if I would use the crowbar.
Yeah, but that's also for range attacks. Well, I guess it doesn't matter but yeah, with the. I forgot when she targets a single character with defense powers. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
exactly.
guess
So it's kind
the
of
way to go
locked
would definitely be then emotional modifier on a different character, so that you can give her the Battle Fury if you're playing Thanos, and then go from there because you don't have the option with Mad Jim because she's your prime, so you have to have it on board. So,
which is fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, because I'd want to give her something to give her some kind of healing at the very least. Because she just so she can try to get back up to top dial when she gets hit, because she's gonna get hit eventually.
Right. And then what about you, Pete? If you're gonna do 400 point Silver Age,
things I would like to play but wouldn't have lasted long. I probably would have looked at Wakanda a little bit because I think there's a lot of fun pieces with that keyword that kind of build on each other a little bit. You had Queen Shuri. You had Wakabi, so you're automatically pushing the math up to hit people on most pieces. But I don't think it would hold up. I think if I was probably trying to play competitive, I probably would have looked at different versions of how to pack as many Tri-Sentinels onto a team and make that interaction happen over and over again.
Oh yeah, well I heard Tri-Sentinels did do pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the piece that we talked about, that like, what do you do with this? And then with multiples, and I mean, all credit to Lucas. He's an amazing player. I mean, he's just been dominating competitive in multiple different formats. So not taking anything away from it. I mean, the team is impressive.
He's okay.
Yeah, the team is impressive. So congratulations to that. Honestly, I just think, I guess I have a question. Do you guys have fun? That's my question.
Yeah, that would be something. Yeah, is more or less important. Did you have fun?
I think part of it was the fact that it was day 5 and I was just dehydrated, hungry, and no sleep, and so that and playing against the team styles that I played against, I really did want to have fun with it, and I don't think that like the way that Silver is right now is not. So I mean, I would say like one of my biggest weaknesses as a competitive player is just that I have a hard time building a team that I sit down to play, and I just know my opponent is just 100% not going to have fun playing against it. So like as a competitive format, 400 points, I just don't feel Silver currently works that well. But so Aaron Morgan is extremely active in trying to make this format great, and I think it will be. It'll get there. So we're actually going to have him on next week and talk about the silver, like just the first big silver event that ROC Cup was, and then the future of silver. But I think really silver needed a huge event like this just to kind of find a lot of the shitty pieces, shitty interactions out there. And after rotation, though, I think it could get worse just because you're getting all these lower point pieces that are going to rotate that can fill that 200 point floor. Like having to build half of your team with that half non-modern is great. Like I think that really is great. It changes it, makes you kind of have to think about what you're building a little bit more. You can't just copy what you're doing in modern and do the exact same thing in silver. So, but once rotation happens, I think it's even harder to justify 400. So personally, I think that 300 is better. And there's just the amount of pieces that are coming in that are lower points is just going to make 400 points, I think, a lot harder. So we actually have our 2-day event is coming up in July, and originally I was waiting to see how the event went to kind of decide if it was going to be 300 or 400 points, and which would be better for the Sunday silver 2v2. But now until a lot of stuff gets addressed, I just don't think that competitive silver can be fun. So we're actually going to change up how we're doing that a little bit, and we'll get to that at the end here. But yeah. So, but I mean, overall, though, it was like a great experience. This year, the event raised over $63,000, which, I mean, that's just crazy right there. So each year it's a little bit more. I can't even imagine, how much they're going to bring in next year. But the best part about these events, and this is what I enjoy traveling and is just seeing everybody else that travels and then just kind of getting to talk cliX with everybody in person. So the heat was crazy and each day was just like going down another level of hell, and it just got hotter and harder to play. But still the judges did a great job. And then also it was incredibly cool just to hear from everyone that came up to us and said that they enjoyed what we do. Like that was just extremely appreciated. Our feedback like that we've gotten from people has just been really great. So I look forward to next year with that, and just with what the changes with the venue and all that. I see it just being a lot better. So I still plan on going next year. Miles, what about your overall experience? Any final thoughts on the ROC Cup?
Yeah, I mean, almost identical to you. Like I said, this is day 5. We didn't get any sleep. And even though, like I said, with my game with Spencer, like that was probably like, just because of how fun he is as a person. But yeah, the Mission Points team, where if he was able to do what he needed to do without rolling a 1, he would have won turn 2. And like that's not fun at all. Now I know some people say Star was not fun, but I get it. But it's something totally different. So maybe people that played against my Star didn't really have experienced that. But as a whole, I didn't really have a lot of fun games in Silver, even though I made top 32 and it was fun making top 32. The fun that I had the most in was actually the sealed, and then the 8-man single elimination tournament with my Herald team. Now, could I have done Herald and probably had more fun in Silver? I mean, potentially, but it was more so of like not my opponents per se, but like their teams and the lack of those teams just not being fun to play against. I've talked to several people locally that there's a huge difference between competitive and fun. And fun, I guess you can't really it's different for each person, but there's certain things like I don't want to play when I want to play fun for fun. So I'll complain about it. In a competitive environment, of course, it's going to be different. But
Right.
I'd like to see there be a mix of the two, for sure.
I just think
It's gonna keep growing.
there's just a lot of things that need to get addressed, I think, before it can be a fun format. And like I said, I think it can get there. It just needed a big event to kind of see the stuff that's going to ruin it.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think the format is personally overwhelming, but I think it has a lot of potential. I think one of the things that always gets talked about in HeroClix is, like the hotness that's what everybody tries to get into and sell and trade and whatever, and then you just watch these prices and stuff fall off a cliff. And I'm not in it to obviously make any money or have like a prize cash collection or anything, but it's nice to be able to play the old pieces and have that opportunity. to have the ability to get old things out of your set and say, hey, this is something I wanted to do. So I think in that way, it's very cool. I think the amount of people that are putting a lot of thought into this is really reassuring that it will absolutely get better. So I'm anxious to see. I didn't know Aaron Morgan was going to be on next week. I'm pretty excited. You're going to block me for next week, aren't you? I'm not invited.
I'm not even going to tell you when we're recording, so you can see it when everyone else sees it.
Thank you.
Yeah. The main way to fix a format like Silver, because of how huge it is from 2016, is that there's been 4 or 5 different rule changes, and so there's been design philosophies that have changed. So normally I am against banning a ton of stuff, but when you have such a huge format where there is so many broken interactions, it's almost begging to have ban lists.
And it's also getting bigger every year. It's not like Modern where you kind of have 2 years ish. Every year you're adding another year of figures, to that pool. So it's just getting bigger every year.
Yeah, that's why I think the ban list is needed for Silver, especially just because, like I said, there's 5 different rule sets, which is 5 different designer philosophies, and so some figures that weren't good when they were Modern are all of a sudden overpowered, especially when you're talking 400 points.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we'll touch a little bit more on Silver next week. One of the auction items that I was able to win was the Scott Porter unboxing haul from Deadpool Weapon X. Then it came with 2 previously unseen play-at-home kits, and then my son and I actually did an unboxing of those new play-at-home kits. We posted it to our YouTube page, and then just some pics of the actual pieces on our Facebook page. He had a blast doing it. He actually did an awesome job. Did you guys get a chance to see it? He did really good. I think he did better than I did, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a good video.
You could learn a thing or two from him.
I was 100%. That's my feedback, is that whatever you decide to do, please in the future run it by Ollie. I think he's the actual talent in the family.
Yeah.
So,
he was so stoked to do it. So we're definitely going to do more stuff like that in the future. We also started posting just like videos of our game. I think it was like Saturday. We did just like a fun Assassins game real quick, and just started fighting each other back and forth. A bunch of the new pieces from the Deadpool set that we got in the unboxing. So we have that one up now, but definitely expect more on the near future. And then, so yeah, if you have not followed our YouTube page, come check that out, because it's really just going to start getting more content. Miles, I think you said you were going to plan on posting some stuff up there too.
Yeah, right now with me working out of town, it's hard for me to get, especially with how much of a stickler I am for trying to make sure with video content. There's tons of stuff I want to do. My kids are super stoked to play, and especially after I showed my daughters, you and Ollie playing. And so when I get my case of Deadpool and Weapon X, I'm trying to convince them to let me record them doing BRs, so we can get some more content there. But yeah, with me working out of town, it's really hard for me to make content. But I do have some cool stuff I think that could be seen in the future.
Yeah, so it's just going to start getting used a little bit more now. So if you have not followed it yet, check it out. And then lastly, we're about 2 months out from our 2-day event that we're calling cliX Mania 2024. It's going to be Saturday, July 20th and Sunday, July 21st at Coliseum Games in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Registration will start at 9 a.m. and round 1 should begin at 9:45. But that's both days. And then the Saturday event is just going to be 300 Modern. And like I said before, I was kind of seeing to see how Silver went during ROC Cup to see what we should do for our Sunday event. But I really want the 2v2 that we're doing to be fun. So since I just think there needs to be an update to the legal elements and all that stuff, we're actually going to just make it modern now. So Sunday is our tag team turmoil event. It's a 2v2 300 modern theme event. Both you and your teammate need to have theme teams with the keyword printed on the card, but both teams have to use a different keyword. It's still a Highlander between both teams, so you and your partner can't repeat any game elements, and everything is considered unique during force construction between the two forces. That includes figures, maps, equipment, tarot cards, non-standard terrain, all that. The only exception is just your standard 1x1 terrains like the blocking, hindering, and water. We're still currently finalizing the pricing, but it's looking good. Both days are backed by WizKids, so expect the pricing to be good. It's coming directly from WizKids. They're supporting this event, so be on the lookout for some actual advertising on that, and win event and event on Facebook and all that. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
Yeah, I need a partner for that. So one of you other guys, not Redmond, is going to be my partner for that, right? We're talking about that now, or no?
Miles has a chance to come out to this.
Yeah, there's a decent chance that I might be able to go out there. I just found a round trip ticket for $200. I'm really thinking about buying. So,
I mean, either that or the way we can settle it is classic knife fight rules, where we throw you and Dan in a room, and I slide a knife in, and whoever comes out the door is the winner.
That would be a
Nick
great
is
thing to put on our
actually
YouTube
going up
page
there.
also.
He was talking about he needed a partner. So, I mean, that'd be great. You guys could probably win the event.
Nick's looking for redemption.
Yeah, because he's coming up. I know he plans on going up there. So
Yeah.
I'm like a 75, 80% chance, but I know Nick said he's a 100% chance going, and I know he needs a partner.
I think he already booked his
Nick,
hotel. He was one of the first people I think that said he's definitely going to make it.
Yeah.
Nick, if Miles doesn't come, slide into those DMs. We got this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am judging Pete, so I am unfortunately out.
But I didn't hear a no on the knife fight part, Dan.
On
You're
the
still
what?
up for that? The knife fight part. You and Miles in a room, one knife.
You drive a hard bargain, Pete. I don't know how to think about
Yeah,
it.
I'm sold.
All right.
Kind of knife.
Well, we're going to be back next week with a look into silver with Aaron Morgan, and then we'll be switching gears to modern again. And then we'll also start getting into a little bit more of our next monthly invitational game, which is Saturday, the 25th. So we will see you guys then.
Yeah. Awesome. You boys have a good week.
Click it.